Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Sleeve It Click the Gym. I'm Quinn. And y'all, I know it's been a minute. Like a good minute. Life been lifing. But in the meantime, I have been on TikTok telling stories. So I thought I would make my own little spooky TikTok compilation and see how that goes. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It don't cost you nothing. I would really love to hit 1,000 subscribers this year. Comment. I talk back. Let's have a conversation in the comments, y'all. If you actually finished this whole video, let's see. What would I like for y'all to leave me in the comments? A bike or a track star. She's a runner. So a track star. Leave me a track star in the comments if you actually complete this video. Subscribe, like. I'm gonna try to do better with posting. Life has been extremely chaotic, to say the least. Like, I work 6 days a week, 10 to 11 hours a day these days. So I be having all these content ideas, but just don't have the time or the energy to execute it. So if y'all like this video, I'll keep this type of stuff up for now until like things slow down, which I'm kind of glad things are not slow. These are the moments that I prayed for, so that's something to keep in mind. But all right, y'all, let's get into these spooky stories. Like I said, leave me a track story in the comments if you make it all the way through the video. Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe, like. Let's talk about it in the comments. Am I the only one that's going through these type of things? I can't be. I absolutely can't be. But all right, y'all, enjoy. Okay, so I don't know if we still doing like the spooky TikToks or whatever, but I have like 2 stories about both my children that that just came back to me that I cannot shake. So I'm gonna start with my daughters first. My daughter's 10 now. She had to be about 4 or 5 when this happened. We were living in these apartments that I had not recently, but previously lived in as a child, way back when. One morning my baby wakes me up telling me that the doggy in her room is talking to her. And I'm like, you must have been dreaming, go back to bed. This child looks me right in my face and tell me, no, it said, hey. And that's one thing to know about my daughter is she's always been like very sure of herself, especially when speaking to you about what she's saying, what she's trying to communicate to you, always. So at which point I'm like, okay. I go ahead, I get up and I go to her room and I point the doggy out. And sure enough, it's on her bed. I'm like, this one? She's like, yeah, it's talking to me. I said, okay, say less. I get the dog, I go take it to the porch. Because I've watched enough scary movies for my little scary behind to know that you don't question these children when they telling you something that's going on in their room. Because entities, you know, they target children a lot of the times. So, I mean, it was a bummer just because it was like a gift from my grandmother. It was a beautiful stuffed black and brown dog. I mean, a nice little size, beautiful. And it was a gift from my grandmother. Like, I probably would have never gotten rid of it if, you know, my baby hadn't said that. So, fast forward a few hours, my son's dad wakes up and I'm like, hey, that dog that's on the porch, I need you to take it to the dumpster. He looks at me. He was like, well, what's up? I say, Bailey, say it's talking to her. Get it out of here. He say less. He takes it to the dumpster. But that was just like one of the experiences that I had in that apartment with one of my children. Now, I'm gonna say that my family is pretty sensitive to these type of issues. So like I don't play around with it. My baby says she's seeing something or she's hearing something, like I'm not gonna tell her she's crazy and that it's not happening. I do try to calm her down just because I don't want her scared, and also I'm terrified. But I gotta be a strong one. Like, fix it. Okay, part 2, the story about my son. And this is like, it takes the cake because my baby was a baby, like a baby. And even looking back, I feel like I'm crazy. I was crazy. I couldn't tell nobody about this because they would just say that I'm crazy. I was going through postpartum. Like, it was bad. So one day, my son is like probably 4 to 5 months. I leave him sleeping in my big king size bed. Now, it was one of these old school king size bed. Like, you know how they used to make furniture big and sturdy? Like, it was a bed that my mama hadn't had for 20 plus years already. I took it because, you know, it was a big, nice bed. And a bed that I had to, like, kind of like, to get into. I'm 5'7", not a small girl. So, I said all that to say, that's how big that bed was. Getting out of it would not be an easy feat for a 4 or 5 month old. I'm in the kitchen washing dishes, and I hear something. Now, mind you, we're still in the same little apartment. It's not big at all. So, I still shouldn't really hear him from the bedroom unless he's crying or whatever. But I'm washing dishes, water running, but I hear something. And a minute or so go by, and there's something say, go check on your baby. So I turns off the water. I go to the room. My baby is not in the bed. I immediately freak out. Like, did he roll off the bed and roll under the bed? But he would have cried, because these are some little, like, low-income apartments. The floors are like concrete. If my baby had hit that floor, he would have been screaming his head off or unconscious. So my baby's not in the bed. He's not under the bed. He's not at the foot of the bed. Like, I'm freaking out. I'm running all over this apartment, which is not big, looking for my 4 to 5 month baby. Not crawling, not walking, barely sitting up. I can't find my baby. I done went back to the kitchen, from the kitchen all the way back to the back of the house, looking for my baby. So that's my room, my daughter's room, closets, the bathrooms. Walked into my daughter's room, looked all around, looked under her bed, looked in her closet, looked behind the door. Can't find my baby. So I go back to the kitchen like I'm losing my effing mind. I'm almost in tears because my baby was in this house with me. I know my child was in this house with me. Where's my baby? Where's my baby? It's like a Lifetime movie going on in my head. Where's my baby? I back to my room, looking all through the covers, under the bed again. And I'm just standing, like, go back to the living room, standing in a circle, like, just turn around in circles. And I hear, like, a little noise coming from my daughter's room. Walk into that room, I still don't see my baby. But as I turn around to walk back out her room, he's sitting behind me at the door. Like, not actually. So not even in the doorway, but like slightly behind the door. But mind you, when I went in my daughter's room the first time, I looked behind the door. I looked all over the place. The baby just sitting behind me, just looking at me, sitting up, looking at me. I pick him up, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, I'm still like in tears and I'm crying. And I'm like, I know I'm not crazy because I came in here and I looked for my baby. What just happened? What happened? What was trying to take my baby? Where did it take my baby? Because he was not completely gone. And you can ask my mama, like, I called my mama bawling because I felt like I was losing my mind. Postpartum was kicking my butt. I'm not going to lie about that. But not so much to where, like, I just wouldn't see my... To this day, I cannot explain that feeling. I can't explain what could have happened because he was not crawling yet. He was just sitting up. What happened? Baby, I don't miss those apartments at all. And I do feel like both of my children are like slightly gifted in one way or another. Like, they might be growing out of some of, like, my daughter's 10 now, and she probably just keeps a lot of things to herself because she said some things. I'm just like, are you playing? If you're playing, you should be playing like that. But, you know. But yeah, that story with my son. And like, I couldn't call nobody but my mama. And my mama was still just like, girl, you okay? You okay? Because I'm crying, like crying. I couldn't call his daddy because his daddy was already on like some get it together, I'm leaving type. Which that should have been the red flag right there, just for you to just go ahead and go. Because if your mother of your child is struggling with postpartum and you know she's already sad or whatever, you don't tell me. But that's a whole nother story. Anywho, I felt like I was losing my mind because somebody or something in that house was playing with my child. Had them took him out the bed, and I don't know what the... I cannot. If you have any suggestions, leave it in the comments. But don't be like I'm crazy, because I'm not crazy, because I know what I experienced that day. And to this day, I make sure I keep like my kids really, really close to me. If you're uncomfortable, if I'm uncomfortable, and it feels like something spooky's going on, like, hey, y'all, come lay with me. Like, you know. Bye, y'all. Hi guys, back with another story time. So thank y'all so much for liking and commenting and sharing your thoughts on my stories about my son. I got a lot of comments saying duendes, which kind of confused me for a second, just for the fact that my duendes are like Hispanic folklore, and we black. No disrespect to nobody, but then I had to realize, not realize, but remember, my son does have Hispanic lineage. But my mama did come across my video of me sharing that story, and I'm like, you remember me calling you crying? She was like, yeah. And she just kind of sat there, and when I told her, and we went through the comments, she was just like, she had some stuff on her mind. So she started to share with me quite a few of the things that she experienced in those same apartments when I was a little girl. So the story I'm about to tell you is going to be a story from my mom. Okay, so the story is my mom's. And so when I was a little girl, and she didn't really specify how old I was when this was happening to her, but she said in these apartments, she went through a lot of torment. And she's tried to share these stories over the years, and I was just like, girl, keep yourself, I'm scary. So yeah, now it's intriguing, and I want to know more about what my people are experiencing, because I'll be experiencing stuff thinking I'm just plumb cool. But then he'll get to the story. So she tells me that like clockwork, every night she used to have this experience of seeing 3 shadows come through the back door, walk across the living room into the back of the house. Now the way the apartment is set up is the back door is the kitchen. So in the kitchen and then the living room, you're gonna come through the kitchen, walk through the living room, and then walk to the back of the house. Because I remember my last story, I explained how small these apartments were. Ain't much to it. So she would literally watch these come through the back door, 3 of them, and walk to the back of the house. And I'm like, but Mom, she's like, that ain't even a kicker. How could it get worse? You just, every night? She's saying, I would hear them getting into my bed. Every night. They would be waiting for me in my room, in my bed. I said, She said, You know how you hear the springs of the bed when somebody sit down on your bed? Every night, three will come into this house and walk themselves right to my bedroom and climb into my bed. So me, I'm like, I'm sleeping on the couch. You gonna have to come get me from the couch, because she's like, no, it's my house, it's my home. What was I? So I'm like, what did you? She said, I would just, go to bed eventually when I had to go to bed, climb into the center and be real still until I fell asleep. Could you imagine? I sat there listening to this story just with tears in my eyes, just because I cannot imagine being so terrified in my own home with nobody to tell about it, nobody to talk to. Not to mention, she's telling me how I was adding fear to her with my experiences, which some of it I remember, some of it I did block out because, baby, the way I live now, so the way that I move now in places, I can't stand open doors, especially once I go to bed. I better not roll over and see no door open. I'm gonna freak out. My night is ruined. I'm probably gonna be up for the rest of the night just because it's eerie to me. But I could not imagine that experience every single night. And she didn't really specify for how long it lasted, but for her to say every night, it had to be a thing. Because my mama don't really, she don't elaborate on things. She don't say much. If I'm gonna be quite honest, Mama don't talk much. She do, but she don't. She's not very social. She talks to me because I'm a child and probably her best friend, which I love. But yeah, I was just like, I couldn't. I'm so scary. Like y'all gonna have to come get me off the couch. I see y'all tomorrow passing through. Y'all still gonna have to come get me off the couch tomorrow too. That is crazy. Leave your thoughts down in the comments. I really thoroughly enjoyed the comments I read from the last video I posted. Let me know what you think. And I'll keep posting her stories because, baby, they're good. They're good. Probably just like every Sunday from now on, just because. She did share some other stuff, which I'm not sure if she's comfortable with me sharing about, like, the Wendays or, like, the little people that hide in the shadows or in the corners of the houses. She had some experiences with that as well. If you would like to hear about that, let me know. And I'll talk to her, see if she's okay with me sharing that. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. See y'all next time. All right, y'all. So this is the paranormal story of why I cannot stand open doors. I don't care whose house, what time of day, I can't stand it. When I'm home alone, I'm closing all the doors. All the doors. So, as y'all know, if you've watched my previous stories, I grew up in a pretty haunted apartment, which at this point, I don't think it was just the apartment. Just because things have always kind of happened to me and like my family. But so in this apartment, if you watched the last story time, I told you like my mom's experiences with like shadows, demons. And the more I thought about it, like it brought back to my memory that when I was a child, I would wake up to a man standing in my doorway. Now granted, we kept our house at this time pretty dark. There was no night lights nowhere. But even in the dark, you know, your eyes adjust to the dark. And anything darker than the dark, you're still going to see it moving around or standing there watching you. And that's what it would be doing. Like, just basically standing there. And it just felt malicious. Like, it never did a thing. It never really moved towards me. I did struggle with... watching the cars around me. I did struggle with night terrors. And I don't know if I can kind of like correlate the night terrors with him standing in the door. I can't say if it was like the nights I had night terrors, I would roll over and he would be there. But it was often that I would roll over and he would be there. Okay. So, we're in the pickup line. I would wake up and he would be there. And it was just like a big man that was the size of the door. And some nights I would just sit there and watch him until my eyes were so heavy that I would fall asleep. Other nights I chose violence and ran through. Ran through the little shadow. Fight or flight, I guess. My fear with running through the shadow would just be like it would grab me and I would never make it to my mom. But that never happened. And I don't really know what would happen. I just knew I made it through and I made it to my mama's bed, whatever. But yeah, that's why I cannot stand open doors. If I'm in the house by myself, I'm closing all the doors. When I get home, if my mama is not home and her door happens to be wide open and her door like faces my door, but it's like away, it's a length away from my door. I hate to look into her room when there's nobody there because it's eerie. Even though I don't see nobody, like I see somebody. If you know, you know. And sometimes I go close it, or sometimes I just go in my room and I close the door. So yeah, if I'm home alone and I just happen to have left my door open because like I'm getting ready to go or whatever, like I often catch like a little thing just kind of peeping around at me. And I just be like, out loud and everything. Don't you start. So yeah, closet doors, room doors. If I'm somewhere by myself, them doors are gonna be closed. I'm gonna be sitting in one spot in whatever room, and I'm not moving just because it's so eerie to me. Now there was a situation that happened like a month and a half ago that kind of forced me to have to sleep with my door open until we got like our security back together. But in that span of a time, like I did not sleep. It was just really, really hard to get some rest. And if you want me to go into a story time on what happened and caused me to have to sleep with my door open, I can. Also, this little dude right here, between him and the cat, I feel like we got something going on again. And I'm not ready. But I'll get that story time next, okay? Side note. So, while I was experiencing this, I did tell my mother, of course, because scared, right? This woman tells me, oh, that's just your guardian angel. And even being so young, like, I knew, like, that wasn't it, but, like, that was my mama. What was I supposed to, why would she lie to me about that? That was my mindset at the time. So I asked her today when it came to mine, like, Ma, you remember me telling you about that shadow in my door? She's like, yeah, that man with the hat. Mind you, I had completely forgot about the hat. I just knew it was a big man that was the size of the door. And I was like, why did you tell me that was an angel? You knew good and well there was no angel. She was just like, girl, I was scared too. What was I supposed to do? It be your own mama, man. But anywho, I completely forgot about the hat part. And I was like, dang, the hat man came to see me too. Only thing is, like, I wasn't paralyzed. Like, yes, I was scared, and being a child, seeing something that you know you shouldn't be seeing, or seeing something that you know shouldn't be there. You're scared to move because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how the sneak is going to interact. But like I said, I chose violence some nights, and I ran for it. Other nights, I just kind of laid there, scared, paralyzed, and feared. But like, I had the ability to move had I chose to. I was just too scared to move, and I was just, my eyes was fixated on it until, like, my eyes are too heavy to hold open. All right, for real. Bye, y'all. Okay, can we talk about how my son and my cat are freaking me out? So, he's been getting up there and just staring at the ceiling for like a little over a week now. The first day I caught him doing it, like, there was literally a fly on the ceiling. And I was like, oh, you see somebody watching us? Ha ha ha. If you know, you know. So, the first day, it made sense. But, see? Even once I got the fly out of here, he still kept doing it. Now, fast forward to yesterday night. My son is in here playing on his tablet. All of a sudden, I hear, I'm scared. And he's kind of like trying to get me to, like, he's trying to scoot into my skin. Like, I'm scared. He's trying to bury himself in me, you know, for comfort. And I'm like, scared of what? A monster. I see a monster. The monster. I'm like, monster where? So, okay, I'm going to try to flip the camera around. Hold on. Okay, so he's pointing here, saying that there's a monster. So I point just to make sure that right here, this is what you're talking about. And he's like, yeah. Oh no, it went into the tunnel. And I'm like, tunnel? So then I'm like, okay. The vent? Monster went into the vent. The monster went into the vent. I'm like, okay. Of course, I comfort him. It's okay. Mommy will never let nothing happen to you. Meanwhile, I have no words at this point. I have plenty, but none at the same time. If you get, okay. So, a little over a month and a half ago, someone broke into our home while we were sleeping, and I've been feeling very, very eerie and watched ever since. And it just doesn't make any sense. And for the cat to start doing that, and then for my son to physically say he sees something on the ceiling after the cat's been looking at the ceiling for a week, and then when he points it out to me, even though I don't see it, but I swear every time I walk into this room, I feel like something in that vent is watching me. And no, I can't make sense of it. It doesn't make sense. Nothing ever does. What's not working? I'll fix it in a second. Give me a moment. Y'all. And if you want the story on, like, the break-in and how that whole night went, because it just, nothing sits right, nothing makes sense, I'll give it. Just comment. I'll share it. Like, because maybe y'all can help me make some rhyme or reason to it. Like, it doesn't make sense. Ever since the break-in, I feel watched. And now the cat is staring at something. My son is terrified of something on the ceiling that's making its way back into the vents. And it was like a running joke because the person that broke in went up into the attic. And I was like, were you looking for an easy way to come in that would be, like, quiet? Like, you just drop down through one of the vents, but we have small vents in this house. Y'all, pray for me. Because between the cat and my son, I can't be ignorant about nothing. Nothing at all. All right, y'all.